And hi, welcome to the Craig and James show yet again on another Friday, same time, Friday. You can always find us here. And we know we've got a lot of new people been joining us recently. So if this is the first time you come to this show on our channel, we tonight talk about all things spiritual. We take your questions on all spiritual things. The more political type of stuff and the controversial stuff, that tends to be on the Coffee with Craig one, when we talk about politics and all that type of stuff and world events. So tonight we like you to give your questions, lots of questions about anything to do with the spirit world, anything to do with spirituality, anything to do with
psychic
world, your ghosts and anything, all those sort of things, how to develop all those type of things, dreams, whatever. We open it up to you. So have a think about some questions. We're going to start bringing the questions in early tonight because we haven't got a set theme for this evening.
We're going to say hello.
We'll say a few hellos first, but those of you, particularly the regulars there, get a few questions in early for us, please. So let's say a few hellos to one or two of you that are joining us here.
Chaz, yay! I'm so excited by tonight's show. Good evening, Craig and Jane, and good evening, everyone else, and good evening to you, Chaz.
Yeah, thanks for being enthusiastic. That's what we want. But yay!
Agility bits. Hello, all from sunny Cornwall. I hope everyone is well.
Yeah, it's still sunny at this end.
Yeah.
I think down in Cornwall you're getting the rain already, are you then?
Well, it's sunny. It's sunny in Cornwall.
I think she's got tongue in cheek there. Because we're due for really heavy rain in the UK now.
Yeah. Jane, hello, Craig and Jane from Los Angeles.
Oh, that's nice. No, that's bound to be sunny. Too sunny over there. They got too sunny over there. Too wet in China. Too wet in the UK. What's going on in this world? It's turned upside down, and Italy frazzling, you know. So yeah. So any more hellos we've got there?
Hi from East Asia.
East Asia. That could be a pretty big area. Singapore, I guess. Yeah, good to see you. Lots of you coming in. Good evening, Craig and Jane from Germany, says Lydia. Sorry, I'm always calling you that. So I've got to have some of your questions tonight, guys. Anything about all things spiritual? We better get them started, Jane, with a few thoughts and ideas. I did ask the patrons to put a few questions earlier on, because in the Patron channel, you know, which is our sort of, you can read about that in the description. I sometimes ask the patrons, give us a few questions to start the show off tonight. One was asking me, sorry about my cold, I've still got it. One was asking me about can the I Ching be used for doing past lives? I thought that was quite an interesting question. And you know, can you use the I Ching to ask about past lives? And actually, I thought that might be an interesting start to talk a little bit about what the I Ching is, because no, you can't really.
I was going to say
the I Ching is there to try to get you in touch with what they call the Tao, Tao, the Tao, this mysterious thing from China they call the Tao, which I suppose could be a bit like the idea of the Indian idea of the Dharma, the way, the path. It means the way, it means the path. And I think in every situation there is what the Chinese would have called the Tao. It's, on the one hand, it's like the perfection of all things. It's like Brahman, but also it's like the unfolding of things. And it's like everything we do has a sort of energy to it, a weather, a spiritual weather. So, and we've got some funny weather coming up at the moment. But how about the thought? What do you think, Jane? How would you describe the world's spiritual weather at the moment? How is the Tao manifesting?
Well, I think what's happening around the world is we're very much an awakening, and we're seeing all nature fighting back with all the climate changing. It's a wake-up time, and I think people do need direction. They do need guidance, because I think we've got to have a lot of empathy, sympathy, and good energy to help those less fortunate, because we've got at the moment Italy with the fires, and before we had California with the fires, and then we're meant to be getting extreme weather this weekend, Craig, with rain and everything. So what's really going on? What is really going on? Are we being tested to our limits, or are all these things on a high energy frequency? Can we all tune in to positive energy rather than thinking, oh, what's going to happen next? I don't put the news on. So what's your views, Craig?
You're going to need your microphone on and off, Jane. All right, because you're not getting a mic sound. So I'm just going to talk for a moment on that, which I think is
well,
interesting.
you took
idea.
control of it, so it's still on.
Let's turn it off. Turn it on again.
It's flashing.
Okay, leave it now. It should work.
Can you
as
hear
long as
my
your
voice?
microphone's not. Yeah, your microphone's all mixed up and
It's
stuff.
worse, is it? I tell you what's happened.
Anyway, I was going to say.
Microphone's falling down, Willow. Right, just test. Can you hear me now? Does it?
Yeah.
Perhaps it needed new batteries, Craig.
No, batteries are going.
Can you hear me now?
You've got your mic in a very bad position on there, Joe. Mine's pausing too.
Ah, so it's not all about me then.
Okay, thanks guys for telling us. Can hear anyway, so we're getting a little bit of an intermittent sound. Yeah, people can hear more clearly. Okay, well we're gonna persevere. Sorry, we got a bit of a sound issue I think tonight, but hopefully it's all right. Sometimes it's the positions of the mic that creates the problem. I'm just gonna change things.
Can you hear my voice, Willow? Okay.
So I think we should be all right. That's probably better.
And should I repeat what I was saying, Craig?
Yeah, you can summarize it. Yeah,
well,
because people hear most of it, I think.
Okay, what's happening around the world at the moment is we're getting all these disturbances with the weather and change. And we seem to be wanting to be awakened to this. Perhaps it's come at this particular time in this century for man to try and change their ways, because it's as if it's not going to get better, is it? It's going to get worse.
Yeah, I think one of the things I would say about this idea of kind of like a spirit of the age, there's like an energy, and I think it's like a weather. And I think spiritually at the moment, the world's in quite a dark area. Yes. At the moment, when you look at the human values in the world, it does seem, okay, we got wars and all things going on. We're always having that in the world. But it looks to me, I get the sense with the world at the moment, it's almost gone through a sort of a dark night of the soul, a kind of a bit of a nervous breakdown.
It sounds to me,
crisis of identity.
It sounds like the world is going through what I call the female menopausal stage.
Yeah, or some
breaking again. Which one? Oh God!
Or some crazy sort of mental breakdown. The world feels like it has sometimes. You think, and why are we getting this? Why is the world like this? Because what is happening to people's souls? What's the cause of it? I think a lot of the things is, first of all, people in the past used to turn to religion, didn't they? And I'm not saying religious things are necessarily good, but they would look for moral values from religion. Where do we get our kind of spiritual and moral values now from? YouTube, yeah, okay. You get it from social media, you get it from television, you get it from commerce, and everything's being compromised all the time, isn't it? Everybody's trying to, for example, if you want to buy a product nowadays, they try to always associate you buying that product with some form of something you want to achieve. So they might say, here's a happy family. You can buy this product for the home. Here's the security of old age. You can have this pension plan. Here's a happy, successful person. You want to drink this beer when you're successful. So it's everything's being constantly compromised, not just by advertising.
Control.
And it's controlled by what? It's controlled by money.
Greed.
It's controlled by greed. Greed is encouraged. We're encouraged to be greedy. When we join companies and things, they want people that are going to be aggressive. They want people that have got no morals when it comes to selling stuff.
Okay.
Or politics, the same. We don't get people going into politics thinking, I want to do some good for the world. I want to see this world a better place. They're thinking of the money. They're thinking of the jobs they can do on the side. They're thinking of the power with a capital P. There's very, very few people in the world nowadays that are really driven by what I call a kind of moral code. And it's not morals and saying thou shalt not. It's just knowing what's right. Knowing to do the good thing.
Good values.
It's getting the values right. Yeah. So I don't know what you guys think. Let's have some thoughts about these type of things. Let's have some thoughts about questions of any type, anything under the sun that you want to ask about, and we'll have a look at what any other ideas.
Right, Nana, has anything other than a deceased spirit ever materialized in front of any of you? Yes, I've seen the supernatural world. Do you hear me, Willow?
Yeah, just keep talking.
Oh,
You're right.
well, I've seen things from the supernatural world. I actually seen what is referred to as a ghost ball, which was sort of quite big, round, circular shape, and it was orange and grey, and it was like an energy going in front of me. It was enormous, and I actually put my hand through it, and it was still wobbling about. And then I suppose it lasted about a good 2 minutes and then disappeared. So I've seen that. I've seen things bounce off a mirror, a very vivid, like a ghost ball as well, and energy. I felt a coldness come into the room, and I have seen things that are suddenly not just materialised and things moved, psychokinesis we'd call it, and incredible things that I've seen.
Yeah, I've seen pretty amazing stuff, particularly when I had the circles. And we never had any apports. That's a thing that often appears at circles, particularly those that are trying to do physical mediumship. An apport is something that just appears. And it's all the thing I always think about apports, though, when people supposedly have these, I always think it's almost something you could easily carry in your hand.
Chuck it.
You know, it's a brooch or something like that. So question marks over it. So I've never actually had an apport at anything, but we have had. I mean, one of the weirdest ones was just walking that used to happen through the room. We used to hear people walking through the room, really clear, walking on the ceiling, walking down the side in pitch black.
And we've had a door open and shut, and we've seen a great big light, like a thousand little stars that come and bounce in the room and shot through the door.
Yeah. We've had that ourselves in full daylight. Really strange. And I've had it in my circles too. We've had what we call spirit lights, where you see lights bounce around. You see, sometimes if the medium's working, when I've been working in trance work, they sometimes another face come over mine. They claim to be a transfiguration medium, proper. But occasionally, transfiguration medium, like the transfiguration in the upper room in the Bible. But this is like sometimes you see sort of like faces come across. Even sometimes in pure daylight, you see another person's face. So that's a spirit, though. But we do get all sorts of strange things. But yeah, it's an interesting world, Nana. And a good and interesting question from you. Thank you. That's really.
It's not frightening what we see. In fact, it's quite intriguing, because you're seeing these things very visual in front of you, and it's not just coming from the third eye. It's actually right in front of you, and it's a reality that's actually real.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. This is a long experience of these
animals.
things.
Seen animals.
Yeah. Never seen space people materialize. Why is that?
It's always the first time.
You would think it would happen, wouldn't you?
Not ready
You'd
yet.
think that space people would have appeared
Not
in
ready
physical
yet.
mediumships. Why not?
2045.
Why didn't they? You know?
Right. Lydia, better choppy
audio
than no audio. Always think positive.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's a little
that's
bit choppy.
good.
We'll try to sort that out. I mean, we have bought some very expensive mics, but the problem is we have a bit of a problem working out how to use them.
Mind you, I think what's happening, we've got actually electricians in the building that are doing all things.
There's a lot.
It might be an interference with the waves.
Phones, you've got your phone turned off.
Yes.
Your phone's not near you.
No,
good, because that can often cause a problem.
Yours is more near than me.
Mine's on the other side of the room. Okay, what was your opinion about lucid dreaming, please? Have you had lucid dreaming?
I have had lucid dreaming, and I've woken up and I've noted the time at 4 o'clock, and I've actually just been in between the lucid state that you sort of feel like you're daydreaming, but you're aware that your consciousness and your body is awake, and I've actually felt it. One common thing that people with dreams is teeth falling out.
Yeah, that's more of a common dream.
Yeah, that's more to do with stress. But I have had lucid dreaming. I've actually seen visions, and I've actually seen things that's going to come to pass in the future.
So lucid dreams, when we talk about what a lucid dream is when you wake up when the dream's happening. So you kind of know you're in a dream. And then so you think, I'm dreaming, and I know I'm dreaming. And it's a very weird feeling when it happens, because suddenly the dream becomes very awake, very alive, because you're like fully awake, but you're dreaming. So it can often, I think, for people get very frightening when that happens. Which, for example, I dreamed once I'd woken up, but I hadn't woken up. I dreamed I got out of bed, walked around the room, but I was still asleep. And then I woke up in the bed. Oh my God, I was dreaming. and yet it was completely real. So it's a very, very powerful thing when it does happen. And it's a fascinatingly interesting thing, because what happens in that lucid dream? Where are we in that lucid dream? Nobody can really answer these questions. But I think one of the things that you do learn is that you can kind of take control in the dream of your fears, perhaps. So even a dream, you wake up in a dream and there's somebody chasing you, for example, and you wake up and you know you're in a dream. And you think, I'm going to take control of this. I can turn around and chase the chaser, as it were, or make it disappear, and so forth. Because it starts to give us, I think, some element of control over the subconscious mind. And there's been lots of research done for this. I mean, years and years ago, when I had a graphic studio up here in Winchester, one of my clients was a lucid dream institute in Oxford, with university, where I was doing work with some of the people that were producing the papers, and I was just doing the graphics for it. But I had some fascinating conversations with some of the leaders in the field. And at that time, long while ago now, I suppose. But it is a fascinating thing. We don't really know what it is, but somehow we do get this awake state when we dream. The yogis also try to master it too, and and also there can be a thought that this can sometimes be used for what they call astral traveling. So it's a fascinating state. I've written a lot of books about it.
Right, Frank. Does the relationship between trees and fungi have a spiritual connection? Yeah, I'm very interested in fungi because we've got the myceliums that they're meant to have a high consciousness that go all through the planet and reach. Trees do have a spiritual sense, because if you put your hand on a tree, you will feel the energy, especially an oak tree, and sometimes you might get flashbacks of what's been in the past, and you can definitely feel that energy. Every living thing which is of nature has an energy. Even if you cut a rose, it depends how you cut it. And things come back again like a cycle. So yes, fungi definitely, because they're all connected. It's like all electric cables going around the earth and everything. So we do need fungi. We do need mushrooms and things like this, especially woods and trees. They all go together.
They reckon that a forest couldn't really survive without the mycelium, because what we see a few toadstools and things, but actually fungi actually penetrate pretty much all the soil everywhere. And this is kind of like an internet in a way. It's like a super connected web of life force. And although we have no proof of this, I am sure, in my own thoughts and what I've seen and felt, that nature is conscious, and nature is conscious independently, like a tree might be conscious, or something else. But in a way, the fungi seem to be the thing that link it all together, and perhaps create the consciousness of the whole forest. We've lost touch with this whole aspect of our life. We've gone into a world of great rationality, and rationality is a wonderful thing. It creates YouTube, it creates the cameras here, it creates our rooms and everything, all the wonders of the Industrial Revolution and all the rest of it. We got all that, but what we've lost is our connection with the energy of the earth, the Gaia,
nature.
the abundance of it all. And we forget we're just simple human people. We're humans. We're just another animal, part of this whole natural thing on one level.
Audio's almost gone.
Oh no. I think we do work downstairs, Craig.
But I think people are hearing us still. Are you here? Can people just put a comment? Let me know if we're losing
Can
audio.
people hear us
If we lose audio, guys, please give us a.
in quiet? Well, perhaps will they be able to see our film?
Let's put the movie on for a minute.
Can you put our movie on?
Yeah. So hopefully you can still hear me, guys. Do put comments and let us know if we're getting bad audio again tonight. But we're going to put a little. We have these little bits in between. We've got something from what was a show we did called The Spirit of Diana. This is one a little bit that Jane did. We did a show to connect with the spirit of Princess Diana. So this is Jane's little sequence. Now, hopefully we'll get this. Let's get this one working. Here we go. I'm going to put a little video up.
And thank you for that donation, Caroline.
I haven't plugged it in.
Everything's going wrong. It can possibly go wrong tonight. But hey ho.
Keep talking, Jane.
I will keep talking indeed, for a change, rather than Craig doing all the talking. But yes, do watch this video that we've done and everything when Craig can get it on the screen. And I hope you enjoy it. And then you can see another part, how we work, because we always work in truth and integrity. And we always try to do our very, very best linking with spirit.
Yeah, but we're not very good with the sound.
Have you linked?
So here we go.
Jane has just arrived at the hall to conduct the first of our 2 London seances. We have instructed Jane to arrive just moments before the seance is to begin to ensure that she has never met any of the people who are sitting at the seance table. She's making her way to the seance room. Jane is greeting the people at the table for the very first time now. Let's identify the participants who are sitting at this reading, so the viewers will know who Jane and hopefully Diana will be talking to. That is Elke Salvador. We know that Elke did not know and has never met Princess Diana. Next to Elke is Tom Corby. He was a royal correspondent for the Press Association who covered the princess for more than 7 years. Next to Tom is Philip Godfrey Knight. He and his partner were paid a surprise visit by the princess. And the last participant is Lynn Francis, founder of an HIV/AIDS center in Zimbabwe. All right, we're in the control room.
Okay, stand by, everybody.
The director has cued Jane.
Well, thank you very much for all coming today. It's a pleasure to meet every single one of you. And I'd really love you to send your thoughts up to loved ones on the other side. Think of me as a switchboard. Don't just nod your head or don't just say yes or no, because you're talking to real people in the world of spirit. So if you please close your eyes now, and we'll send our love up. We'll send our love up to the spirit realm, and we ask for them to use me as a communicator and to bring Princess Diana through. We ask for nothing but truth and the vibration of love and any message that she has for the world or for any of you here today. God bless you. I'd like to come to the gentleman there. You may open your eyes. I feel very much as if Diana wants to touch your hands. May I touch your hands? I want to thank you for your good work. I feel she's saying what you've done on the earth plane. I feel that also I want to touch this lovely lady here. And may God bless you and that your health improve, because I feel Princess Diana is saying thank you. I don't know if you've been working for children or anything associated with AIDS. I want to thank you very much. I'm getting very much that she's showing me Africa, she's showing me children, she's showing me the Red Cross. Does that mean anything to you, darling?
Yes, very much, yes.
Thank you, because I feel that as I'm looking at you, I feel that your health, she's showing me, is going to improve.
Oh, good.
You nearly wasn't here. Would you understand that?
Yes, I nearly died in December. I was in a coma.
Not your time, too much work, and because I feel we've got a shining light. I feel as if Princess Diana's thanking you. Would you understand that? She's putting a little baby on your lap there. Would you understand that?
I do very much. She took in her arms a little baby with AIDS in Zimbabwe. I was working at the orphanage where that little baby was. And for us, I'm HIV positive myself, and for us, she touched the people that nobody would touch.
I want to touch you from Princess Diana, and I want to say to you that she loves you very much. And would you understand about a little baby girl? Would you understand about baby girl that passed?
Yes, I do.
She's with Diana.
Oh.
And there is nuns there with her as well.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
keep the good work up. Philip, can I take your hand, please? You've got a lovely hand. I love touching your hand. Okay. Who's Christopher? Because Diana's saying, Christopher, can I talk about a Christopher on the other side, not on the earth plane? They're having a ball over there, darling. They're having a ball. Could you
Christopher
understand?
being his middle name.
Right, let me just see. Who's Mark? Who's Mark? Don't make anything fit. Just be yourself, because she's talking about
friend.
Mark.
It would have been a friend.
Right. Somebody died in your arms, because Diana, I don't know why she's showing me, but there's somebody that died in your arms. And I feel there's been a passing, and I feel it's somebody's passed over less than 9 months. Would you understand that, please?
No, I'm
Yes, you
not
do.
lost.
Yes, you do, because they're saying yes. Okay, let me just see. Because time's nothing in the spirit world. It's everything here. Everything here. All right. Why are they showing me a lighthouse, the spirit world?
I can't think.
What is Brighton? What is
Brighton, I used to live in Brighton.
You know what the lighthouse is. That's what Diana's saying to me. He knows. Because I don't know where the hell you come from. She's just saying
No,
that.
I lived in Brighton.
She's
I
talking
used to
about
live in
Brighton.
Brighton.
Now, you're doing some good work here, I'm being told, also on the earth. Would you understand that?
I have done, yeah.
Right. Okay. Somebody's just knocked a bottle and a glass over. Why am I getting that?
I've just stopped drinking.
God bless you. Diana's definitely with you. Going to work through you. You've got lots of good work to do. This is personal messages I'm going to give to each of you. And then we're going to bring some more information through. Would you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Well done. Well done. Why do I keep getting a flash gun with you, the man with the cheeky face? Tom?
I don't know. I thought of Lighthouse.
What
It's the
does-
Lighthouse charity.
Well, there's a lighthouse coming here because I'm seeing things visually, and I feel Diana is very much putting her arms around you, because I don't know what you've done, but you've done something good here.
I've tried to be myself, but I've been around.
What is services? What's the services mean to you?
I was a national serviceman.
That's good enough. That's what we like to hear. There's a little baby that she's talking about, that a friend that lost a baby, and I don't know which one that's, but I'm seeing a baby, and I'm getting initial, looks like C. I don't know what the C means, because all these things mean something from the spirit world. Okay, let me just see. It's a foreign name. Try me again. I can't get my tongue around that. It's a foreign name. And I've got a little baby, and there's a blessing on this baby's grave there, because she's talking about my friend's babies with me. I don't know who it is, but that's what I'm being told. Would you
I
understand
know.
that?
Yes, I understand that perfectly. I know who
What
that
does
is.
that mean?
It means Rosa Monckton, whose child, I think it was a little girl she lost, is buried in the Diana's Garden in Buckingham Palace. And
It's private. It's very private.
it is intensely private.
Because-
And,
Okay.
and also, Diana was godmother to Rosa's other little girl who was born with Downs, Dominica, who I've had some.
Where's the sea? Where's the sea? The spirit was drawing a sea.
Mum.
Was should have that baby been cremated but was buried instead? I don't know why they're
I
showing it.
don't
And it's,
know. I'm not sure
okay.
whether it's the ashes or whether it's.
Oh,
I think
I
it's
don't
the
know.
ashes.
It's just talking about.
But it's certainly in the in Diana's garden in Buckingham Palace.
It's private. It's a private thing, and there's a blessing there because that baby's
was.
with her. That baby's with her. Would you understand? Because she loves the babies. All right. Okay. She's talking about her father, and she's saying, "My father met me, and I threw my arms around him because I missed him so much. I missed him so much." And she's saying he hasn't got his stutter anymore. She's on about stutter. Does that make sense? Okay. Now she's showing me letters, and I know what she's talking about, and I'm not going to mention the name, but they should be destroyed. because that's where they deserve. Okay. Who's Whitaker? Who's got surname Whitaker, please? Who's Whitaker? Talking about Whitaker.
Okay.
Who's Whitaker?
James Whitaker,
She's poking her tongue out. She's having fun here.
the great squash tomato, she used to call him.
She's talking about
Or was it strawberry? I can't remember now.
Whitaker.
Because of his red ski suit.
Oh, she's talking about Whitaker. Give my love to Whitaker, whoever that is.
I'll tell him.
Right, give my love. Okay. I'm going to close down now, and I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes. Princess Diana, I thank you from my heart, and I also thank the spirit world for allowing us today to communicate with you. I bless you, Princess Diana, and I know you're happy. I know you're doing your work, and I thank you so much for coming today and joining us. Peace forever.
Fascinating. Remember, our psychic mediums have never met the people in these circles and know nothing about them. While the crew sets up for Craig's seance, let's see what the participants of Jane's seance thought of what just happened.
Well, I suppose I wasn't really quite sure what to expect when I came. It was different.
It was interesting to me to find out that Diana came across so strongly as knowing what I was doing. And that came across very clearly in what she said to me. And that she was there and that she knew the work I was doing. That was quite powerful for me. Even the one who calls himself a cynic was very much part of it.
I found it terribly hard to relate the Diana I knew to being a spirit. And I used to see her regularly, sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes twice a day. And I'm a shocking cynic, but I did feel something during that. And there were 1 or 2 things that came out which only Diana and I perhaps knew. So perhaps I'm not quite so cynical.
You've just heard what the 3 people who knew Princess Diana thought of Jane's seance, and I would have to agree. It was a remarkable experience. Also remarkable was that Jane picked up on the girl that had never met Princess Diana. I've just been told that the seance is about to begin in the main hall, so let's go to Craig Hamilton Parker for our second seance.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just as well we had a decent clip for you tonight. Hopefully our sound's going to be all right
Yeah.
now. I think we've sorted it out and worked out what was wrong.
Did everybody hear that sound on that
Yeah,
video?
they would have heard all that.
Would they?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
We don't
otherwise,
hear it from here.
we couldn't hear any of it, of course.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully let's have somebody comments. Did you like that? There was a lot of controversy. We'll show you the next week. I'll show you my clip of when I did my little seance on there as well. So both of us did a seance. But it caused a lot of controversy at the time, a lot of questions from people who, the people that follow this channel, you enjoy mediumship and things like that. For many people, that was the first mediumship they'd ever seen, wasn't it?
Well, a lot of people didn't understand it, you see. And that particular time, I believe we were flown to Paris and New York, and we had to go to Fox Studios and go on air and everything, because they've never encountered anybody like ourselves.
No, and we didn't take a penny for that show, and that's important. Any money we were offered was given to the Prince's Trust, but we still got pillaged for it, to be honest.
Well, that doesn't matter, because that's how it is in the media. They can make you look good, they can make you look bad, because most of the charitable work we've done, and we're giving to the Pia Brown Cancer Ward for Children, didn't we?
Yeah. Most of the work we've done on television, actually, when you add it all up, most of it was given to charity or just purely for travel expenses, wasn't it? Really. So
in fact, it cost us money.
we enjoyed it. So, any questions coming up there, Willow? You still going?
Can you hear us, Willow? Oh, we've got a question. Can we speak with the trees?
Oh, we're back to that one again.
Which tree would you like to speak to, Craig? A birch tree, an oak tree, a willow tree?
Prince Charles certainly did, or King Charles
Well,
did.
actually, they do pick up vibration trees because you get a lot of tree hugging people that can put their arms around a tree and they can store the energy. I don't think it's a bad thing to talk to trees as long as you don't go over the top.
I don't think we can talk to trees, but we can communicate with trees, which is slightly different because I think we communicate with trees energetically.
Yeah.
It's a different level of consciousness. You think trees are not going to have human consciousness, but certainly people, you know, who go out and take the ayahuasca and things like that, that there are very much communications that happen with trees and with nature, and you know, I think all of us communicate energetically with trees. I mean, I see energy around trees. I see auric colors around trees. There's a certain feeling from certain places in the woods to others. You know, there's a certain sense with some trees and some plants and things of different types of energy. Definitely, but it's not like speaking, though I don't think speaking probably does any harm. People who speak to their plants have often shown that the plants will grow quicker than those
With
plants that aren't spoken to.
You're speaking to it with love.
Yeah. So yes, it does kind of work, doesn't it? It kind of works, and that's something that happens. I can click a few here if you're having problems.
Keep your questions coming.
There's one. Can Diana guide Harry from the other side?
Well, it depends. It depends if it's a very, very good person, communicator. And he has to be there, Harry, of course. It can't be somebody saying, oh, Diana wants to speak to Harry. It's got to be what he wants. All things are possible. I believe he has seen a medium and that, but I think it needs to be a one-to-one and personal to him, not necessarily for the outside world.
Yeah, they were children when we did this show. But Harry has had some messages. I think that's good that he has had messages. I hope the medium was a clear channel, because again, you always worry that sometimes people don't know who a good medium is. Some of the people that Diana saw, personally, I think were completely inappropriate people that she saw sometimes. Some might be very good, but she was seeking and trying to find. And of course, people clamber when it's royalty to do a reading. But certainly, yes, Harry could definitely get a message from Diana, and so could William, all of them. And it's been a tradition in the royal family right the way through, not just the royal families of Britain, but the Romanovs were very interested in communication with the spirit world. The royal families of Spain and France and all the earlier royal families were all very interested in communication with the spirit world. And some of the great mediums of the past, like D.D. Home and people, used to demonstrate physical mediumship to royalty, you know. And I think and even Nostradamus, of course, he was Henry II. He gave his messages to and things. So yes, I hope Harry does, and I hope others will too, from the royal family.
I've got another. Can we interact and play with angels? I swear that I played with one called Kitty before I started school, or was that just my childish mind? Well, lots of children, because they used to say an imaginary friend, didn't they? When children,
Yeah.
It's an imaginary friend, and because they weren't that advanced then, if we go back a few years ago with children do see incredible things. I can remember my son, he was about 3 years old, and he saw his grandfather in like a cloud and saying, it's Pop's here, happy birthday, because no one believed him. And when Granddad won, he said he was absolutely right. It was his birthday. There's no way he would have known that.
Oh, yeah, children see things. And I think there are some animal spirits too. I mean, what happens to animals when they die? I don't think they all retain a sense of identity. But I think some animals do, because they come back when you give spirit messages. And the animals are named and details given about them. And it's not the animal communicating, but it's a spirit communicator who will be saying, I've got your dog here, and his name was this, and he died like this, and gives evidence and proof for that animal So that makes me say, yeah, animals do survive. And if animals survive, why can't a child who is much perhaps more open than most adults at an early age, open perhaps to the idea of the spirit world, and even like we were saying about this, the energies of nature, I think open to the energies of nature. I mean, I've got quite a long memory back from when I was a child, and I can remember playing in the gardens and things when I was 4 and 3 and things like that. And the world was a different place. I can remember almost an energetic connection with nature those days, you know. So I think when we were children, we do have a sensitivity. Before the age of 6, I think there's a very special
It
openness.
has been known, rescue angels, when a child's been involved in a car accident, because people have actually caught that image on cameras, and it's not faked up or anything like that. So there has been an angel that's come to rescue a child in an accident, because obviously it wasn't that child's time to go over. And to somebody actually catch that imagery on camera is incredible. But I believe that children are very open, their thoughts and perceptions are pure, and children don't lie when they see these things.
And there's a lot of proof also for things like near-death experiences. Children that have been involved in car accidents and things, being able to describe grandparents that had passed over years before that they never knew of or knew, and details that they couldn't possibly know as children. And their very innocence and lack of beliefs and things like that makes it seem gives us very credible evidence of the continuation of life and the proofs that near-death experiences bring. So what kids say, I think sometimes is more interesting than what we adults have to say. It's like their minds are still fluid. Their minds have not sort of clamped down and closed down into this sort of, like we were talking earlier on about that rationality.
They're pure, their mind, they're not polluted.
Yeah. So that's an interesting question.
Yes. Carol, question. Have you ever set for a reading and got nothing? Never. You haven't neither.
Well, no, there was once I abandoned a reading. I remember saying, I said, I'm just sorry, I just can't get anything for you. And I think that was because the woman was just so armored. It was really difficult.
It wasn't your fault.
And might have been some others, possibly. We've done thousands of readings in our time. But sometimes it is, sometimes you see, you can't force it with a reading. You see, when a person comes to a reading, sometimes it just flows and you get incredible. You think, you just get amazing stuff. And other times it's a struggle. Sometimes it's a struggle because the person's blocked for some reason. You know, they're blocking you, but they're unconsciously blocking you. Or sometimes they're just very tired and they're not feeling quite right. And sometimes you're not quite right either. You know, so I've said it before, you've got to kind of get the conditions right, not just for you as the medium, but also for the person receiving the message. We're not a telephone line to the spirit world. It requires the sitter's fluence as well. It requires a flow of energy between you all to make it work. Like with those Diana sessions there, while it was airing, we won't say what, but some of the people around the tables for us were very difficult to work with. Others were much more open to work with.
Difficult me, Craig.
Well, both of them, we were saying, but
No, they weren't difficult.
They were difficult. Sometimes some people are much more open because the flow is there. They're not armored, you know. Like when we go on TV shows, and I remember you get the presenter say, right, tell me what color underwear I'm wearing. You think, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to do that. That's not how it works. It has to be a fluence. It has to be a flow. So when the need's there, the energy comes. When the conditions are right, the energy comes. So it varies.
Right, Debbie, question. Have either of you read tea leaves, and how does it work? No, I don't read tea leaves. My grandmother used to, but that was just for fun. Get a bone china cup and saucer, turn it up, down, and shake it, and see things. Because I think a lot of it, when you're a child, it's your imagination, because you see like aeroplanes, things like that. But she used to do that for fun. I can't say I'm in the business of reading tea leaves.
No, but I've done. In the circles, I've used it sometimes.
Yeah, but you don't really do it.
But it's obviously not something you would do a lot. It's more of a fun thing. But I'll tell you how it can be useful, and it can be used. Tea leaves are very similar to what I used to use, which is ink blots. You know, like the Rochage ink blots, where you get a piece of ink, you make that butterfly type thing when you open it up, and you get pictures in it, and you look for the pictures you see. I use it as a technique to help people to get used to connecting with their imagination and their unconscious. And sometimes the pictures you see are significant. So it might be something, you see something and it's significant, and you describe it to the person, and you start finding and it's a good way to start building a reading. So yes, it works like that. And it's the same thing with the tea leaves. They make little pictures. You look at the pictures and, oh, that's a symbol. What does it mean? But your subconscious mind has seen one picture. Another person might look at the same bunch of tea leaves and see a completely different picture, because it's what your mind's projecting onto it. Same when you look at the clouds or anything else, or they used to use it in divination in the past. So it's kind of got its place, but I wouldn't use it as a form of proper divination or psychic reading with somebody.
I tell you which is quite an interesting thing if you want to try this. Flower reading. You get people to pick different kinds of flowers. You must pick them separately, and don't let the other people see it. Put it in a brown paper bag, and then put it out and get each person take that flower out and watch you. You might have a marigold flower, or you might have a rose, and what you pick that energy up, because that's really, really good technique to learn to do readings. And also ribbons. Sometimes I use coloured ribbons, because you've got all different colours. You might have a light violet colour, a light blue one, and you can pick up spiritually readings with that, and that's really quite good. I haven't done that for a long time, actually. I must do that again. But
yeah,
I think
the flowers are particularly
good. Vi Kipling gave me those things, so I treasure those.
Yeah, I don't really, never done ribbon reading.
Oh yeah, it's interesting.
But I tell you, some of the flower reading is very interesting too, because with a flower reading, you can read the flower and you can read the breaks and turns of the flower as a person's life. So you read it like a story. And yet a flower, if a person's held it for a while, since it's a living thing, it picks up their energy. And then you can do what we call psychometry, where you link in to the energetic field, and it comes through your unconscious mind again. You just start getting images and pictures that are being transmitted by that flower's energy. So it's some great techniques and great ideas. And those of you that get interested in these things, I've got a whole series of new workshops coming onto the website soon. We've had the developers in the background getting it all working, and you'll be able to book workshops again with me soon. Be coming up in the next couple of weeks. In fact, days it might even be.
Be good. And I'm going to do a meditation on my YouTube channel. If I've got time tonight, I might do that, to take people through meditation. This is really for people with mental health problems that need to relax, and I do that technique for them.
Okay. Do you want to get the question?
Stephanie, do spirits hold on to their emotions from this plane when they cross over, or do they immediately see a new perspective on everything, Craig?
You want me to answer straight away?
Well, you pointed to me to read it.
Well, I was going to let you speak first. I've been coughing a bit. Do they hold on to their emotions? Yes, they must do. You must hold some of. I think the pain is released instantly. I think the memory of the pain might remain. With memory, often memory and feelings and emotions are all interconnected, aren't they? And when we pass into the spirit world, we take the whole of our personality into the spirit. This is a remarkable thing. It all survives, including the memory. So we have our memory, we have our feelings, we have our emotions, and we have our thoughts. All of that survives, because when a spirit communicator communicates, there might be an element of emotion to the message. There might be an element of rationality to it. I think it's very different. I think it's perhaps indescribable, because it's like our consciousness in a dream is very different to our consciousness in daily life. Our consciousness when we're happy is very different to our consciousness when we're depressed. Our minds are changing and flexible all the time anyway. But I think in the spirit world, there's a certain elation to our existence. There's a lightness of being in the spirit world, and a dropping of the heavy emotions of the earthly plane. So really, yes and no, they survive, but they're in a slightly different form. After all those things make us who we are, don't they? Partly, or certainly our interpersonality.
Here's your friend here. More Nico Carter. We never have enough of you, do we?
Oh, you've been doing some brilliant shorts
All right.
actually recently. I love your channel, mate.
Yeah. Right,
It's so
Greg.
funny.
When people pass over, are they suddenly able to see events in the future? Well, I think they need a resting period, don't they, at first, if they've gone over, if they've got a particular illness or anything, they need to be recharged
I think the spirit will see the past
with potential.
because they say it's like reading the book of life, which is symbolic. But from what I've understood, a person goes into the spirit world, they see the whole plan of their life. They see everything that happened in their life. They see all the secrets that people had said about them. They see all the things and the feelings and thoughts. They see all that had happened in their life. The future has not happened yet. Maybe they get a feeling of the future, but it's usually I don't think it's always the spirit world can sometimes tell us things about the future, but I actually think the spirit world don't know. The ordinary people we know in the spirit world, like you and me, don't know. I think some of the higher spirit guides know the future up to a point, like the rishis from India knew the future. They conquered time.
Yeah.
But I don't think all spirits see the future
Perhaps
at all.
the ascending masters do, Craig.
So I say there are higher beings of some sort that also do have glimpses into the future and may know the unfoldment of the future, but all of it is subject to free will and therefore to our personal responsibility. So that the future is not unfolded even in the spirit world yet. But I think time is very different there.
Mm.
But my thoughts are that, most people go into the spirit world. If you're a miserable old sod here, you'll be a miserable old sod in the spirit world. You're not going to change. You're not suddenly become divine beings. You take all your foibles with you, all your problems, everything you are is still you. You're just in a different dimension. It's like, when we get rid of the body, it's like taking off an old overcoat, they say, but we're still the same person, So I don't think we become angelic beings. I don't think we become great Nostradamuses or anything. I think we're very still within the limits of what our consciousness is. It will change and will evolve, maybe evolves over multiple lives and in multiple lives in the spirit, because we might reincarnate into other planes as well. But ultimately, we are still who we are. We don't become completely different beings. The only thing that has changed is all the troubles of the body are gone. And that is something that is the great joy of going to the spirit, because so many of the problems of our lives are connected in some way or other to our sensory system and our interaction with the body. So there you go. Makes me feel like a better pizza tonight, perhaps. So keep your questions coming, guys, because we need a few more questions now.
We've got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, we haven't got long now, so it'll have to be your last ones now. I don't know, see if Willow's missed any there. There's sometimes some quite interesting ones.
You're doing extremely well.
Yeah, because yes, quite one forward. So we got this one.
That's 1 week we can do photography of ghosts, Craig, that are caught on camera. We've got famous ghosts.
There's an interesting one. Thoughts on parallel lives.
Okay.
And I can't spell the word parallel either. You struggled with it. But so thoughts on parallel lives, because people often talk sometimes that do we live multiple lives at the same time?
Possible.
This is what one of the ideas is parallel lives, and that sometimes people say there's lots of different ideas, so I don't know quite which one Be Happy is wanting to sort of connect with. But there's sometimes, like in our own life, are we living this life, but do we jump into another life that's running alongside it, and we jump again and another set of potentials, And one of the ideas that I found really interesting was a guy called Uspensky, I think it was, came up with this idea, one of Gurdjieff's lot. And he talked, and Nietzsche as well. Nietzsche talked about this as well. And talked about this idea of eternal recurrence, that when we get to the end of our life, we don't actually die, we just start it all over again. and it's the same life run over and over
That's
again,
more
a bit like
karmic,
Groundhog Day.
Karmic, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. This was also ties in a lot with this idea of parallel lives. That there's one life, it wasn't quite right. Okay, we get another chance, and this time we're a little bit more conscious, so we can perhaps change things just slightly different and not step in front of that bus. You know, so there's all sorts of interesting concepts there. I don't think we can prove anything on parallel lives, really, but the way they're looking at the universe nowadays, the way they're looking at this idea of a multiple universe, the multiverse as they call it, that maybe there are millions of universes all overflowing over this universe, and all we're doing is our mind is just jumping from one universe to another to create the idea of time, like a flashes of of the frames of a film. So yeah, that's quite interesting. So there's a few thoughts on parallel lives and whether we do are there sort of multiple endings to our lives, a bit like on Black Mirror, where you got multiple endings to the movie. So yeah, so our lives are very interesting, I think. Anyway, we're coming to the end soon, and sorry we had a few technical problems with our sound, but we got it sorted, I think, in the end, and hopefully you'll be able to hear most of what we did tonight. Also, of course, I always have to mention it. Do have a look in the description if you're on the YouTube, because you can have a look in there and become a patron and seed a few questions before we go on the show, for example, or ask me questions on the show, or make this show possible, because we give our time for nothing, but your donations make it possible, because all this studio we're in here costs money, quite a lot of money, because we're in Winchester, and so your help is absolutely critical to keeping the show going, absolutely critical for helping us to take it further, and also really helpful too, because we're wanting to work towards something much bigger with this whole thing working in the background. But we need your help, and we'd like to thank all those patrons that have been helping us with this so far. There's really thank you for everything you've done. So we've got another show next week, haven't we? But we'll be off on holiday soon, so some of the shows will be missing. But
then eventually, we hope in the future we can be doing another show from Italy. That's our dream.
Well, we're going to have a few. We might be able to have another show from Italy. We haven't got quite the gear over there to set that up.
We're working towards it.
But we got the internet connection now, so we might be able to do something from over there. But certainly, we're going to be coming back with all the little out and abouts of Craig and Jane, the 10-minute bits you get in between. We'll start showing you some of our place in Italy and what we're hoping to do with that, and our hopes to make that into partly into a retreat. Okay, we're going to say good night to everybody now.
So it's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Thank you, Willow. You're going to press the button, and we're going to say bye, everyone.